Hello, got a quick one for you today. A short story by Shirley Jackson from the 1940s, The Lottery. Shirley Jackson, most known for this short story and The Haunting of Hill House, which has recently been adapted into a Netflix series, which I thought was okay, though I have not seen the second season, which I hear is not quite as okay. I didn't have this one on my reading list this year, it just sort of happened to prioritize it out of the blue. Me and a co-worker just started talking about what our favorite books from high school were. I said my favorite was Metamorphosis by Kafka, and she mentioned this. Felt a vague sense of familiarity with what she was describing. After finishing it, it turned out, yes, I had read this in high school. The Lottery is about a village. Shirley keeps the description of the village fairly universal so that you could assume it takes place almost anywhere at any point in time. They gather together to host a lottery where everyone goes up and draws a slip of paper from an old box, and then everyone looks at what is written on the paper. One person is singled out and has a dot. They are the winner of the lottery, and if they fall into a family unit, then they host another lottery where a specific family member is singled out. In this case, the mother, and then everyone gathers around and stones that person. Revisiting the story all these years later as an old man, I can understand why I forgot this short story, because aside from this pure grain of horror, the story here is very bare bones. The writing style is quite tepid, I feel. And aside from the final moment, it really failed to elicit almost any sort of feeling from me. And I think that that is sort of the point. The style of writing here is intentionally very bland, I think, to lull you into a false sense of security. The attitudes of the villagers are pretty relaxed and easygoing. They're just gossiping and talking amongst one another. And yeah, all of these little details do, I think, contribute to the point. Society can, with enough time-honored tradition, instill these really barbaric rituals into the populace, who will treat it as if you're just, you know, going out to see the fireworks or something like that. There's this one character in the village, Old Man Warner, I believe, who has been through so many different lotteries over the years, and these other towns getting rid of the lotteries, it's a crazy idea. Why would they do that? You know, he's sort of meant to be representative of people who are just so accustomed to the way things are that changing anything for any rational reason seems absurd. The theme of this short story endures pristinely. I don't think the story itself fares quite as well. It's a 30-page read for one moment, really. I think that this same sort of critique could have been made with a little more detail, and we could have lingered on that final moment a little more without being too indulgent or anything. It effectively achieves its goal. It seems very workmanlike. Horror, especially for me, needs to have something of a distinct touch, something that really grips me. The biggest fault of this short story is that the language is so intentionally pared down and lifeless. I was really bored reading pretty much all of this. And then when I got to the final moment, it's just like, huh. Because since The Lottery was published, so much more media has come out that has taken this idea and expanded on it. I could easily see how the seed of this was really important, crucial to dystopian fiction. I could easily see how this went on to inspire stuff like The Wicker Man or Midsummer, or if you really want to maybe throw some shade at Shirley Jackson, maybe stuff like The Hunger Games. Would I recommend reading this? Not really. Would I recommend teaching it in schools? Probably. Doesn't do much for me. Kind of left me feeling a little bit just meh. I could see myself maybe reading some of Shirley Jackson's longer form work. The quotidian normalcy of living in a society like this. The style here had to have been so muted. I really hope her more ambitious work is not of this style. Maybe evokes more feeling. The prose element here is like a 0, and the theming is like maybe like an 8 or a 9, if that scale even helps you in any way. Yeah, that's my thoughts on The Lottery. Not much else to say. You could probably read it in about the time that it took me to film this review talking about it. And you could also come to your own conclusion about this story in the same amount of time. So the real question is, why are you watching this review, man?